Rapidly failing vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance not only admitted that the cats and dogs being eaten by Haitian stories was a story he created. We might understand that as being made up, as being imaginary, as being not true. Okay, not only did he say these are created stories, he insisted that he's right to create them in order to bring attention to. You've got to see this. Yesterday, J.D. Vance appeared on CNN with Dana Bash, and he says he and Trump must create these stories so that people pay attention. Of course, it's circular because if the story that you create for people to pay attention is fake, what's the point of them paying attention to it? Only to lie to people because you think it'll make them vote for you. It's wild. Check this out.
Just once and for all, you again started this in part by saying that, at which Donald Trump repeated on the debate stage, that, and he didn't say anything about the policies that you're talking about. He just said Haitians are eating dogs and cats. Can you affirmatively say now that that is a rumor that has no basis with evidence?
Dana, the evidence is the firsthand account of my constituents who are telling me that this happened. And by the way, I've been trying to talk about the problems in Springfield for months, and the American media ignored it. There was a congressional hearing just last week of angel moms who lost children because Kamala Harris let criminal migrants into this country who then murdered their children. The American media totally ignored this stuff until Donald Trump and I started talking about cat memes. If I have to,
but it wasn't just a meme,
create stories so that the American media actually pays attention to the suffering of the American people, then that's what I'm going to do, Dana, because you guys are completely letting Kamala Harris coast.
If I have to create stories to get you to pay attention, then that is exactly what I will do. Wow. Should be uniquely disqualifying, but he might be the next vice president.
You had one interview with her. You talk about pushing back against me, Dana. You didn't push back against the fact that she cast the deciding vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which is why a lot of Americans can't afford food and housing.
You just said that you're creating
a story.
About
public policy.
Sir, you just said that you're creating the story.
What's that, Dana?
You just said that this is a story that you created. So then the eating dogs and cats thing is not accurate.
Dana, it comes from firsthand accounts from my constituents. I say that we're creating a story, meaning we're creating the American media focusing on it. I didn't create 20,000 illegal migrants coming into Springfield thanks to Kamala Harris's policies. Her policies did that, but yes, we created the actual focus that allowed the American media to talk about this story and the suffering caused by Kamala Harris's policies.
Wow. You know, there was a picture floating around, supposed proof. There was a black guy carrying 2 dead geese. Now, you might say, whoa, hold on a second. Wait a second, David. Illegal Haitian migrants eating dogs and cats and a picture of a black guy carrying 2 dead geese. That doesn't seem like the same thing. And not only are you right, it appears as though the black guy carrying the 2 dead geese is not only American, not Haitian, but he's an employee of some agency and he was dealing with like a wildlife call about 2 dead geese. It's absolutely stunning and surreal that they just say this stuff. Listen, if I have to create it to get people to pay attention, I will. And people go, yeah, you know, it's true because the corporate media, they won't pay attention. So J.D. Vance is doing the right thing. He's creating it. He's putting the focus on it, but it's made up. And this continued. This got really, if you can, by the way, if you can believe it, this went on and on and on. Here's a piece of this from a different moment in the interview.
Talked about some of the things that I've been talking about. Let me just say this. My constituents have brought approximately a dozen separate concerns to me 10 of them are verifiable and confirmable, and a couple of them I talk about because my constituents are telling me firsthand that they're seeing these things. So I have two options, Dana. I could ignore them, which is what the American media has done for years to this community, or I can actually talk about what people are telling me. And if
Think about that. Look at what he's doing. I mean, you have to give him credit. It's sort of evil genius. Trump goes, they're eating cats and dogs. And then now JD goes on CNN and he goes, Dana, you're the problem. You're the problem. We have to do this because you won't talk about this story. And Trumpists go, yeah, that's right. Dana Bash is the problem.
Of course, many of the things that the media says are completely baseless have since been confirmed. For example, I was told, Dana, that by the American media that it was baseless that migrants were capturing the geese from the local park pond and eating them. And yet there are 911 calls from well before this ever became a viral sensation of people complaining about that exact thing happening. So my attitude is listen to my constituents. Sometimes they're going to say things that people don't like, but they're saying things that people don't like because their town has been overwhelmed, and it's my job to try to fight for them and to protect them. Kamala Harris opened the border, and now these people are suffering.
All right, so you get the point. It's just on and on and on. This interview, not that we haven't talked about this before, but this interview reminded me in very stark relief how desensitized as a society we are to these completely outrageous statements and fabricated storylines. If we zoom out, we have Trump versus Harris. We have a disastrous presidential term from Trump and a perfectly fine presidential term from Biden and Kamala Harris. Things aren't perfect. We have problems to solve. It is still a country of 340 million people with complexity and poverty and all these different things. But it's like, it's kind of just been normal a little bit. And we have abstracted from that and a debate performance in which one of the two candidates couldn't even stay remotely on topic, screamed at his opponent, made up stories, eyes were darting all around like a crazed maniac. And now the story has become, well, there was a call about a goose, and here's a picture of this black guy we found carrying two geese, but he's American and actually works for like the wildlife people and has nothing to do with Haitians. And by the way, the Haitians aren't here illegally. And all of a sudden, it's the media that's the problem because you won't report about Haitians eating cats and dogs. And we've completely abstracted and from the core of all of this. And that's kind of their point. There's the idea that even Trump's supposed romantic relationship with Laura Loomer is a less damaging story to Trump than the complete failure at the debate. Now, I'm not saying that's my view, but what I'm saying is there are those who say that whether it's true or not, the point is to distract from the debate performance at its core. Any one of these storylines, there is a time in American politics that they would have instantly ended not only your campaign, but probably your political career. I mean, Howard Dean once whooped, whoa! He didn't just he didn't just lose that race. His political career was essentially over. I know it wasn't actually totally over. He did good work for different, I believe, nonprofits. But as far as like major elected office, his career was over. And this is where we are today, and these people might actually win. So that's where we are on cats and dogs at this point in time. We'll see where we land on it tomorrow. There are two big problems with the cheap plastic disposable razors. 2/3 of people have skin irritation, and then over 2 billion plastic razors enter our landfills in the United States alone. Now, our sponsor, Henson Shaving, solves both problems. With the plastic disposable razors, you have unstable blades wobbling around as you shave, which causes the irritation. It's like if you were cutting something with scissors or a knife and the blade is wiggling. That's what's happening to your face with the cheap razors. So here's the solution. Razors produced by Henson have a blade that extends only 0.0013 inches past the shave plane. And that means no blade movement, more comfort before and after shaving. This is something only Henson can offer because of their precision manufacturing shop that also makes aerospace parts. Plus, the only part that you replace is the blade itself. The razor will last you a lifetime. Better for your wallet, much better for the planet. When you buy a razor at hensonshaving.com/Pacman, use the code Pacman to get a 2-year supply of blades for free. Make sure to add the blades to your cart. The link is in the description.